Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Hey everyone, this is James, your openly gay and blind metalhead. So this is going to be pretty much the last video for the evening. I was one of the metal groups I really enjoy is Rammstein, and I have pretty much all their albums except for the their first album, and of course I'm drawing a blank on it. I think it's called Herzlied or something, and yeah, I'm gonna butcher a lot of this German because that's not my first language. And by the way, what I'm listening to in the background is that's the album "Fuel for the Fire" by Ori Kuivanen, and you probably thought I was gonna have some Rammstein playing, but well, maybe some other time. But anyway. I really enjoy Rammstein's stuff. I like their Sehnsucht album, their Mota album. Raya's Rise was really good, and so I pretty much enjoyed all their stuff, and I like their I like how they do a lot of just commentary in their songs, where they, I don't know if it would be considered commentary exactly, but I like how they do a lot of subject matter in their songs where they talk about certain things like that are kind of true crime. And examples of this would be the song Weineblut off of their Liebesverlade album, and Weineblut, or Viennese Blood, I think that's what it translates into, is Viennese Blood. That was about the Josef Fritzl case, and for those who don't know, Josef Fritzl, and here's a trigger warning for anybody who has a hard time hearing about rape and sexual assault. Josef Fritzl was he was a guy who lived in somewhere in I think it was Austria, and he at one point back, I think it happened. I think it started in either the 80s or 90s. I'd have to go back and actually research the case because I don't remember every single exact detail. But basically, the gist of it was he would go on to eventually he took his daughter down to this room that he constructed in the basement of him and his wife's house. Told the wife that that the daughter had run away, and then would for several years go down to the basement, and he would rape his daughter on several occasions, at which point she would go on to end up having several children by him. And whenever he would want to bring the children upstairs to have them raised by him and the wife to continue the illusion that the daughter had run away, he would have them. He would leave them on the doorstep of the house, and then bring them in and say, "Oh well, look, I found another infant that our daughter didn't want." I think that's how that went. And but the bottom line is he kept his daughter imprisoned and raped her several times, impregnating her several times. And it was eventually found out, and Fritzl went to prison. And I could pretty much say what I'd like to have seen happen to him, but I don't want to. I don't want to be charged with making terroristic threats or anything. Weineblut was a song that referenced that case. Another true crime case that Rammstein is that wrote a song about was the Amon Maivis case. The song was called Mein Teil, or My Part. And for anyone who isn't aware of that case, and I'd have to go back and really research this case as well because I'm a little blank on the detail, on all the exact details, names, dates, all that kind of stuff. But essentially, what happened was Amon Maivis had met this guy Ben Brontes on this website called the Cannibal Cafe, because Brandes wanted basically to be literally eaten by another guy. It was a cannibal fetish. Anyway, so they eventually met up, and basically things went along. They basically did things together at my business house, and eventually they, with a combination of alcohol and sedatives that Maives fed to Brandes, he attempted to sedate him and knock him out, and basically Maives proceeded to amputate Brandes' penis so that they could both eat it together. Yeah. So they attempted to eat it after he cooked it, and that didn't go over too well. And Brandes said that it was too tough to chew. I wish I was making all this up. I really do. Fuck. So, bottom line, I'm gonna rush through this because this is just too fucked up to keep talking about. So, bottom line, Brandes died, and then Maives proceeded to consume more of his body over a period of time, and then he was arrested and charged with manslaughter. But then they upgraded it to murder, and of course this all happened over in Germany, by the way. Well, Rammstein decided to write the song Mein Teil, or My Part, about it, and I think, given what I've already told you about the details of the case, I think you pretty much know what the part is to which they're referring in the song. Now, what are my thoughts on these two songs? I really enjoy their. I really enjoy both Meine Blut and Mein Teil. They're both really good songs, and
Stop recording. Button.
I think they have like the perfect amounts of metal and a really good, a huge dose of sounds and elements that really make them pretty frightening, but still really intense and really good songs. So that was kind of a little bit of an introduction of sorts. And yes, I love Du Hast by Rammstein. We can't forget that. That's off of the Sehnsucht album, and so yeah, I really enjoy that song. Can't forget that. But this video is actually to talk about two songs. Well, I was going to include one song on here, but making it two. But I want to just kind of stick to just one song. But I will talk a little bit about the other song that I was going to mention too. So there's two songs by Rammstein that I've heard a couple times. The one is Svita off of their Mutter album, and then the other one is, and this is the title's in English and part of the chorus is in English. It's the song Pussy off of their Liebesverlauda album. And okay, I'll talk a little bit about Svita and just kind of, I don't really, but I'll definitely get on to the Pussy song because I definitely want to talk about that one. Svita translates into hermaphrodite, and I'd read somewhere that it was kind of them making a joke about people who have like both, I don't know if I'd say like, I don't know if intersectionality would be the right word, but just people who have both male and female genital organs. And the song was meant to be kind of a joke about hermaphrodites and stuff like that. But yeah, I really don't like that song. I just and no, I don't think that that the guys who wrote it are like anti-LGBT. Well, they're not anti-LGBT. They're not anti-LGBT at all. In fact, they're very supportive of like LGBT people, transgenders, all that kind of stuff. But I just don't like. I just don't like the song. and I just I really it just one, it doesn't really do anything for me, and then that chorus of Zvita Zvita kind of keep continuing to be repeated. It's really annoying, and at the same time too, whatever their authorial intents of the guys who wrote the song, I do think that whether intending to or not, it does kind of make people with hermaphroditic conditions kind of a butt of various jokes of people who in real life do intend to mean people like that harm, and so I do think it's a pretty unnecessary song. And I can hear the people responding now, bro, it's satire, you're getting too upset. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever, but I mean, what happens, well, I was going to say what happens when everything becomes satire, but I mean, you practically have everything being considered satire today. I mean, you have, and I'm not going to say too much about this because it's too gross, but another trigger warning for people who have dealt with like suicidal issues, but in Family Guy, you have a really disgusting joke made about suicide by collectively. It's made by Peter Griffin, Lois, and I think the daughter's name is Meg. And that was like dismissed by a lot of people as, oh, it's just satire. Yeah, okay. So let me see if I can get this straight. I'm going to go on a rant for a minute. Let me see if I can get this straight. I can go and, I mean, if we're going to do this whole everything is satire now, nothing should ever be criticized, and even if it's the most horrible joke around, no, it's just satire, and you either laugh at it or just shut the hell up and go away. Well, I mean, if we're going to go by that logic, then I should be allowed to just run or speed around the apartment building, slamming into people, knocking them over, knocking drinks over, plowing into every single object because, hey, I'm blind. Slam into someone. Oh, sorry, I'm blind. I can't see you. Cook a really poorly executed meal for someone. Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm blind. I know the meal tastes like shit, but oh well, I'm blind. I think you see where I'm going with this. It's just, I mean, come on. You're, it's, you can only do the whole I'm blind thing for so long as your reasoning. Same way you can really only use, oh, it's satire, get over it, for really tasteless or really bottom of the barrel humor. I mean, at some point there either is no logic, or you need to examine why you're making the poor taste jokes that you are doing. Now, in Rammstein's defense, for a minute, they are known for a lot of really, really bottom of the barrel, really dirty-minded humor, and I understand that, and I don't, and there's some of it I've laughed at. I mean, when they, in the Wikipedia page about them, when they're just, there's a concert they did at one point where they got in trouble for taking a device that was a liquid ejecting dildo that they had on stage with them. That was just trying to picture that in my mind. That was pretty funny. I mean, and then of course on the tour they did, the concert they did for the Mota album, on one of the concerts of the tour, they all descended onto the stage out of a synthetic uterus, and they all were dressed in diapers, the members of the group, and a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, I don't mind their dirty-minded sense of humor, but I mean, it just that Zvito being a product of that in terms as far as songs go. Yeah, I've never liked that song. If I was gonna do a serious rating on it, the way I rate other songs that I react to or talk about, I'm gonna give it a 1. And then now on to the song "Pussy." That's off their Liebesfreude album. It starts out with a programmed drum track, and then it goes into the song, and it's like the rock and the metal. And Till Lindemann, the vocalist, he starts out going like, "Too big, too small, size does matter after all," and then it goes right into like the German language, and then the course of the song is in English, and it's just basically it's it's nothing more than him just going, "You got a pussy, I got a dicka, so what's the problem? Let's do it quick." And it's I feel like the song's kind of meant because the song actually got him into a bunch of trouble over in Germany, and their album was like banned for a while, and it was supposed to go on this big index of harmful material you cannot sell to minors. That's my wording, not theirs. They have a specialized legal wording for it, but that's basically what they wanted to do. They wanted to put the album on a index that it couldn't be sold to minors under whatever the hell the age of majority is for kids over in Germany, and that song was the song "Pussy" was the reason why. And I feel like the song was, given the context, I kind of feel like the song was meant to more call out censorship than really anything else. And the chorus ends with the lines, "I can't get laid in Germany," so it was also probably a critique of criminalizing prostitution. I don't know what their laws on prostitution are over in Germany. I don't know if it's legalized or still criminalized, but so I feel like the song was kind of flipping a middle finger to both things I just mentioned. The placing of them on the objectionable material index, and the objection to like criminalizing of prostitution. But I'd have to obviously read up more on that. But I still don't like the song. I mean, it just it doesn't. I don't know. Listening to Till Lindemann sing the chorus in English is it's a chorus it doesn't really do much. I mean, it sounds like something that an immature 13-year-old just learning about sex would come up with if they tried to sit down to write a song like that. And then of course I think it's the second verse of the song, you hear Till Lindemann say "Bratwurst in mein Sauerkraut" or something like that, and it's like, look, so I'm gay, so I'm never gonna like partake of a woman's parts anytime soon. But if I was ever curious, that imagery that those lyrics conjure up for me really just would make me like, no, I can't. It's just whatever their intent. It's just a gross song. I mean, it really is, and I just I never really cared for it. I don't like it. So yeah, that's I mean, the music itself, I do like how I don't like the song, but there are still a few interesting things I can find out about it in terms of the instrumentation. I kind of like the program drum beat at the beginning and how that moves right into to the drumming, and then I do like some of the guitar work that accompanies it all throughout the song. But yeah, lyrically and thematically, it's just I don't really care for it. So yeah, I definitely give "Pussy" a 2 out of 5. Yeah, and then so having talked about all that, I would like to do a video here at some point, because I don't know who all might know this, but Rammstein has been accused many times of supporting fascism, and they've been accused of like being Nazi sympathizers, and their song "Links 234" was a song in which they basically refuted all that. They basically, through that song, they basically said, no, we're not Nazis. We're in fact on the left. If you needed to politically categorize us in any way, and we don't like Nazis. And they would go on to face these accusations once again with their song Deutschland off their self-titled album from last year, because a lot of people believe that they were, due to the imagery of the video of the song Deutschland, a lot of people believed acting as Nazi sympathizers, and they were dressed as both, at times they were dressed as SS guards, and then other times they were dressed as Nazi concentration camp prisoners. Till Lindemann went on to say that that lyrically the song Deutschland is about how they have kind of a love-hate, the members of the group have a love-hate relationship towards their country. On one hand, they love it, because it's their country and it's where they're from, but at the same time, they hate it and can't do the whole complete 100% patriotism, given the dark periods such as, obviously, like the times of Hitler and the Nazis. And yet people still got out of that, oh, Rammstein are Nazi sympathizers at best and Nazis at worst. So unfortunately that came up for them again in 2019. So I would like to, at some point, do a video that goes more in depth down the road about who specifically would be accusing them of that, what the motives are, and just really my attempts at just basically calling the accusations for the prejudice bullshit that it is. Because, I mean, I think we can all acknowledge that underneath all that is the subtext that, oh, well, they're from Germany. Germany had Hitler and the Nazis, ergo, it's too easy for them to become Nazis. Well, that's as big a load of bullshit as some of these people who were saying back then that the Nazis happened and Hitler happened, and the reason why everyday citizens supported the Nazis was because they already were kind of predestined and preordained to support them because their Lutheran religious beliefs predisposed them to supporting authoritarians, whatever the hell any of that even means. And that was something that William Shirer wrote in his. That was something that William Shirer put in his book. And I'm drawing a blank on it. It's that big, really thick book that that William L. Shirer wrote about the Nazis. I think it was just called The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, and it's a really, really thick book. It's available on to all my blind subscribers. It's available on the NLS Bard website. I read a pretty good portion of it back several years ago, but it just it's one of those books you can tell it was written decades ago, because whenever Shirer talks about any of the individual Nazis like Julius Streicher or Hermann Goering and all the others, there are certain ones that he'll describe as he would say things to the effect of this particular Nazi officer had a thick, an extremely thick muscular neck, and he was not only a faithful Nazi but also a homosexual pervert who, and then it just would go on with the description, and he used this phrase homosexual pervert many times in the book, and I know. Well, times were different back then when he was writing it. Whatever. I'm sorry. I have no desire to to read something where people like me are being dismissed as homosexual perverts. I know Shirer was talking specifically about Nazis, but that doesn't make that still makes that kind of talk problematic, and we should still call it out for what it is. So you're going to hear a lot of that in there if you ever check it out, unfortunately. And again, also, Shirer's passages in the beginning of the book where he says that it's possible that that the German people supported Hitler and the Nazis so readily as they did because their Lutheran faith kind of set them up to support authoritarians. That seems pretty problematic. I mean, and I've heard that before as kind of the hypothesis, and that of course ignores the reality that because the political unrest and a lot of the political and social insanity going on over in Germany at that time, because it was never dealt with, that's how you were able to get a Hitler, because of that political instability and economic instability going on over at that time, and they didn't deal with it, and Hitler came, said he had an answer and someone they could blame, and most of them, with a few exceptions, took to him just like that. And kind of like how we have Donald Trump today, but we won't go there. So yeah, that's but yeah, that's really. So I would like to go eventually and dig more into why you still have this kind of like ridiculous, untrue image of Rammstein as being Nazi sympathizers when they're not, and getting back to the original point, I think that that's what makes William Shire's book so problematic, because he kind of fans the flames of that sort of simple-minded notion that, oh, you're from Germany, Hitler was from Germany, it's only natural you'd support Hitler, it's only natural you'd be a Nazi. I mean, that's no less bigoted than these idiots that that try to say that, oh, you're black and you like rap music, and say you ask that to the one or two black people that say, no, I don't like rap music. Well, what do you mean you don't like rap music? You're black, ain't you? Well, it's kind of that same mindset, and yeah, and I think from that stems a lot of this nonsense about, oh, Rammstein are Nazis, or at best Nazi sympathizers, and to me it's just like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. And most people might say, well, why would you even care? Can't you just enjoy the music? Well, I can enjoy the music, but at the end of the day, these are real people that this shit's being said about. I mean, okay, yeah, like Till Lindemann and Richard Kreisb and all the other guys around Rammstein are, probably pretty wealthy from their music and stuff like that. I don't know, but I mean, regardless of the wealth status, I mean, they are still people, and they don't deserve to have this xenophobic bullshit said about them, and that's exactly what it is. So I would like to, at some point, do a video talking about that and refuting all that nonsense and calling it out for the bigoted and xenophobic horseshit that it is. All right, well, that's it for me. Yeah, and this video was definitely all over the place, but I've been up since fairly early this morning, and yeah, I'm pretty. I'm definitely ready to relax for the evening. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I can be found on Facebook under James Heady, JAMES space HEADY, and I can be found on Twitter under Duran Grey Addict, DIRENGREYADDICT, and that's all one word. So, hope everybody has a good evening, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Stop recording button.